Hello and welcome. For today's video, we have an in-depth answer to the question, what's an appraisal? My name is Craig Power with Power Realty Advisors, and today we have an amazing guest, the best to ever do it, Jenn Troup from Troup Appraisals. What's up, Jenn?
What's up, Craig? How are you?
Very well, thanks. And it's an honor to have you here. And of course, I wanted to mention I only know you as JT Paris, so that's like
Right.
your movie star name.
Yeah, it's my Facebook name, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say my so you know how your movie star name is like the name of your first pet and then the street you grew up on. Are you familiar with
Right.
that whole thing? So
Yeah.
mine is actually Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's,
rest in peace to the legend.
yeah. No, JT Paris is has got a little bit of a meaning to it, actually. Well, the I don't know how in depth you want me.
Whatever feels
Obviously,
right.
in my initials. Well, long story short, Paris was I was at a friend's birthday. When I went to Texas to a dude ranch, and I asked the owner of the dude ranch what color horse I was going to ride the next day. And basically, I wanted to match my outfit to the horse. So he called me Paris Hilton. So
There we go.
yeah,
I like it. It's got a nice ring to it.
yeah.
Uh, and before we kick things off with the appraisals, quick off the cuff question for you. You're a Patriots season ticket holder. So what's their record this year?
Oh,
You got to
I
go
don't know.
on record here. We're
Uh,
on.
that's a tough one. That's probably my toughest question of
Yeah.
the night.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's honestly, I haven't really followed Cam that well, so I don't know. I don't know what this can bring. We don't have half the players, so
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know. I'd be happy if we can win half the games, and
Awesome.
I think that's being positive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm optimistic right now. I'm thinking like 9-7, maybe win a playoff game, and then tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll be like 2-14.
Yeah.
But so yeah, let's get into this. So I was telling our viewers today, you've been doing appraisals for a long time. You're an expert in the field. You're also a real estate broker, so I have to figure that's a nice complementary skill set to have. And I wanted to set the stage for our conversation here. The idea of an appraisal is an objective, unbiased professional opinion on a home's value. So if you're a buyer getting a mortgage or even if you're doing a refinance, an appraisal is going to take place. Maybe let's set aside the refinance thing for now. And Jenn, I was hoping I could just fire a few questions your way. And we're approaching this for someone who's buying their first home.
Okay.
That's the, at least of the videos on my YouTube channel here, my new YouTube channel. So I guess just to jump off, at the start, at what time in the home buying process does the appraisal take place?
So typically, once you have an accepted offer, within the 10 days, you usually do the purchase and sale and the home inspection if you're going to do one. And usually, sometime within that time frame, the appraisal is ordered.
Awesome. And the biggest question that I wanted to kind of set up for people, and I think I asked you about this before, and why does the bank or the lender care about the appraised value of the home, right? What is the reason? Why do they care so much about it?
Well, simply put, basically, they don't want to lend more money than the house is worth, essentially.
Yeah. That was the thing. When we started talking about doing this video, I wanted to sort of pause on briefly because you know how it is when you're buying your first home. It's sort of overwhelming. People talk about like market value, assessed value, this and that, and like, what is the difference with appraised value? And of course, the idea of a mortgage is you own the home, but you're putting the home up as collateral in the event of a default. So meaning
Right.
and I know I'm getting like, I might be oversimplifying everything here, but meaning if I can't pay the mortgage, the bank can take the house. That's the foreclosure process.
Correct.
And they can take it with intent to sell the house and they want to make sure that they can recoup their losses or cover the loan value. So that's, if you've ever heard of LTV, loan to value, LTV is basically like a risk assessment by the bank or by the lender. I guess, would you say like, it's not really that everybody who's buying a home really concerns themselves with that metric, right? Like
Right.
LTV. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so when you're appraising a property, what are you looking at?
So basically, the appraisal is obviously you want to come to market value, which is basically the most probable price in a competitive and open market. So basically, you looking at location, the view, if it's waterfront, water views, the overall square footage. Um, I guess the biggest thing to say with this is, because it can be misleading on a listing, is to make sure that the finished basement is not included in the overall square footage, because that's a very big misconception.
Yeah.
And later on, the homeowner will be like, I thought it was 3,000 square feet. Like, well, 1,500 of that is below grade.
Yeah.
So that sometimes is a shocker within the appraisal process. What else are we looking at? So looking at age, condition, of course, quality of the improvements, different amenities,
Sure.
basically. A lot of that we can change. The one thing you can't change is location, basically.
Yeah. 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 All that factors in. And
Right.
I know, as real estate agents, we have some rules we need to follow that are enforced by the real estate board, fair housing laws, all that stuff. Is there like a similar code among professional appraisers?
We can pretty much do anything we want without. Yeah, it's actually pretty strict. We have to follow the short of it is USPAP, which is basically Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice.
Got it.
And basically the appraisal forms, I'm actually looking at one right now, that's why I keep turning my head, but the appraisal forms were standardized not too long ago, because basically an appraisal is simply an opinion of value, and people's opinions can vary very widely. So they've sort of created a uniform appraisal data set so that condition falls in, say, 4 categories: location, view, such, quality, to try to sort of keep the standards as similar as possible.
Great. And you
And then,
said
of
you
course,
had,
that's one of real estate appraisals.
yeah. And with, I know you said you had like an appraisal brought up right there. Was there anything, did you want to kind of touch on that real quick, or just a quick overview even, just for anybody watching?
Yeah, so let me see if I can
Not to put
pull
you on
up.
the spot.
No, I just trying to get the addresses out of there.
Oh yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
That
Tell me
makes
if you
sense.
can. I'm just going to turn my phone around, so I don't know if you'll be able to. Tell me when you have a good view.
Works for me.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, you have this column here, which is the subject property, and then that compares to your 3 comparable sales.
Got it. So those are the comps right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And you need basically 3 comparable sales minimum. Some lenders require like a listing, an active or pending sale. Some don't. You try to obviously use the least amount of adjustments possible, but it's not always that easy. Sometimes you have to adjust for, positives and negatives and stuff. So
Yeah.
it
Great.
can get complex. Sometimes you get a nice, easy one. Sometimes you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you got to take a break.
Yeah. And honestly, does it help you? Because I know, when we're
Yeah.
selling anything, right? When the listing agent shows up with their own comps and stuff, like, do you like that? Or are you like, I can find them on my
Yeah.
own, like I'm a professional here?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I already know what I'm doing before I get there. I
Yeah.
tend to try to write up a lot of the appraisal before I kind of go out as much as I can, like especially I can extract from a listing. So I pretty much already know what I'm up against to a
Yeah.
point. So I can already tell if it's going to be tight. And so at that point, I do actually, if you're a real estate agent and you are knowing this is going to be very tight, I would recommend for sure let the appraiser know where your thought process was when you're picking out your comparable sales. Because sometimes, not often, but sometimes we're just so off, and you're just thinking, am I missing something? So it's, definitely it can go back and forth. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, if it's just a regular simple appraisal, yeah, I'll take them. It's nice. But yeah, for the most part, we're both on MLS.
You know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been curious about that.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, for the sake of this video, we could talk about appraisal shortfalls and appraisal contingencies,
Yep.
just as, general examples, right? So for anybody watching, an appraisal shortfall is the difference between, maybe the agreed upon purchase price and the appraised value, right? So if there's a difference there, hopefully it's not a wide margin, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but let's say, you are a buyer and have a $10,000 appraisal shortfall with no appraisal contingency built in, right? What would you say your options are now? How does that process usually go?
Well, obviously, you can always renegotiate. I think most of the time, obviously, the seller is not going to be very happy. But
Mm-hmm.
in this market right now, things are going for above asking. So sometimes this happens. I think. I mean, ultimately, though, as a buyer's agent, you should always want to put that contingency in there for your
Yeah.
buyer. But also, the less contingencies in a competitive market might give you a upper hand too.
That's
So
the
it's,
balance, right? That's, yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's tough. But ultimately, VA and FHA typically within the finance contingency have the appraisal contingency built within it. There's different forms, so some forms may have it, some forms may not. But obviously, your biggest thing is to renegotiate. If you can't renegotiate, you can always keep the deal and try to put up some extra money to make the difference.
yeah.
People, in this market, there's a shortage of inventory. So you may just really want the house, and it might be worth it to take out an extra 10 grand and put it up front.
Yeah.
If you really love it. So ultimately, though, a finance contingency, even without the appraisal contingency, if you can't get the financing, you can't get the loan.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
you can't get your appraisal, you can't get, so I don't know. I think that there's appraisal contingency 9 times out of 10, I see them in the purchase and sales.
Yeah. And you and I were talking the other day about VA loans too, where they have the VA appraisal process is different, and they have those minimum property require. I mean, I would think that's the biggest difference, right? Is it big on like termite damage and stuff? And
well, yeah. So VA and FHA. So if you're
yeah.
showing houses and your buyer is strictly VA or strictly FHA, and you have a house with a lot of deferred maintenance, the appraisal process is different. You basically can't have any safety, like loose handrails, peeling paint if the house is built before 1978 because of lead paint laws. So, like loose deck railings, stuff like that. Basically, if you have a conventional, their only concern is the condition as it relates to the value at that time. FHA, VA, those appraisals are made subject to doing repairs. Sometimes the homeowners don't want to do any repairs. So it's just something to look at for sure.
Yeah. It can be a tricky one. It can be a tricky one sometimes.
Absolutely. And with the FHA and the VA, the putting less money down total, they're not probably going to want to switch to conventional. So
yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Did you have any other, pro tips on appraisals or anything like that before we get into our social distancing recommendations that we do here?
No, actually,
I think we covered it. Yeah.
Pretty much have to take them one at a time. There's no one size fits all by any means.
Yeah. So for our social distancing recommendations, the idea here is in the time of COVID, right? Get some recommendations out there for books, movies, podcasts. Could be real estate related or could just be for fun. What do you got for us, Jenn? What do you got?
Well, real estate related, I'd have to say The Money Pit, of course.
Awesome.
Tom Hanks. Definitely get your home inspection.
That's great. I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah, you have to see it. It's absolutely hilarious.
Good call.
Shelley Long and Tom Hanks, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's on the watch list now. I keep a note, like an app on my phone, just always adding stuff to the watch list, And
right.
My recommendation was I just listened to this podcast called Origins by this guy Jim Miller, and he just does these like deep dives on the production of like movies and TV and stuff. And he did like a 6-episode thing on the filming of the movie Almost Famous.
Okay.
That's a good one. And so he basically does, podcasts by the
That's cool.
season.
Yeah.
He did a good one on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Nice.
It's just like real behind the scenes, like interesting stuff and interviews. So that's my recommendation for today, because I was just
all right. Sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome. And if you listen to this podcast or watch this podcast, I don't even know if qualifies as a podcast, but just
With
this
that,
little
with
video
that
chat. Yeah, this thing, I don't even know if this thing's on half the time, for the record.
Hello.
Yeah, seriously. It's funny because I set up all these videos and the audio quality still sucks. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. But we're opening up for your social distancing recommendations. If you're watching this, mention it in the Facebook comments or anything like that. And thanks for listening. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Jen, but I'm good to go.
I don't. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, hopefully you got a better understanding of the appraisal process. If you're watching, you can contact Jen at Regatta Real Estate or at Troup Appraisals, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm sure you can find my info somewhere on this YouTube channel or whatever, wherever you're watching it. The company is Power Realty Advisors, and you can email me at craig@powerrealtyboston.com. That's it.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching. Thank you, Jen. You're awesome.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
See ya.
See ya.